Hi everyone, I want to talk about our conjunctions and fanboys test that we took the other day. I'm actually going to go over the answers with you and give you another chance to take the test this week. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first one says we wanted to go to Portugal. Notice the comma, notice the blank. You should be saying to yourself, okay, that's a fanboy. The only fanboy here is yet, right? We went to Brazil and there was a contrast there, right? Remember, yet and but mean the same thing. Look at the next one. All right, before I even read this sentence, I notice the semicolon, I notice the blank, and I notice the comma. So I know that this one is going to be a hotshot fact. It says Marilyn thought it was a bad day because there's a white bus, because she failed her math test. She also thought it was a good day. All right, so it sounds like you've got really these contrasting ideas. I would go with this one. On the other hand, so on this hand, it was bad. On this hand, it was good. On the other hand. Okay, hence and thus, remember, mean the same thing. They mean therefore. Therefore means so. Otherwise, of course, means or. She thought it was both, though. She thought it was both a bad day and a good day. So this is the best answer. Number 3, which is correct. All right. While I didn't agree with his words, I admired Miguel's actions. While, you might not know this, but while also means even though. Even though I didn't agree. While I didn't agree. I'm going to go with that one. All right. These other ones, like because would mean, yeah, this would be like a cause and an effect, right? So here's the cause. I didn't agree. And so that's why I admired. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. This one, even though is a great thing to say, but there's no comma. This one, I didn't agree with his words, so I admired Miguel's actions. Doesn't really make a lot of sense there. All right, all of the following are correct except, so we're looking for the mistake. Although she was tired, she didn't go to the party. I would think because she was tired, she didn't go to the party. So I'm going to go with that one probably. She didn't go to the party because she was tired. That makes a lot of sense. There's no comma there. That's good. Because she was tired, she didn't go to the party. That looks good. She didn't go to the party for she was tired. Remember, for means because. This one's a fanboy. There you go. What does the W in a white bus stand for? I know it can stand for when. I'm just going to go with that one. I ate at a restaurant, comma, I went to the movies. It looks like a fanboy. Has to be and. What does the A in a white bus stand for? How about although? Whoops. Okay. What does the O in fanboys stand for? Oh, there you go. Or. All right, number 9. This one is actually in a positive. Now, shame on me for not teaching you this. So now I'm teaching you. Jack likes to fix cars. Who is Jack? A student. So when you have the 2 commas, this part here is renaming Jack. It's explaining who he is. Jack, a student, likes to fix cars. You can actually take your finger and cross this out, and you should have the subject, Jack, and the verb, likes. Jack likes to fix cars. All right, number 10, blank, you can speak more than one language. You can make new friends. This one is going to be if you can speak more than one language, you can make new friends. That one is a white bus. All right, number 11, all of the following are correct except which one? Amanda will move to New York City if she gets the job. That one's correct. If she gets the job, Amanda will move to New York City. Amanda will move to New York City, comma, if she gets the job. I think it's this one. It's not a fanboy. If Amanda gets the job, she will move to New York City. These two are pretty much the same, aren't they? B and D. All right, let's talk about Margaret. Margaret slapped the teacher. Okay, this one has a semicolon. Therefore, it's a hotshot fact. She was sent to the principal's office. I would not go with however, even though that's a hotshot fact, because there's no surprise. Thus means so. I'm not going to use so because it's a hotshot fact, not a fanboy. So yeah, thus is the best answer. I and a white bus, if. Okay, here's another positive. Marilyn failed her math test. Who is Marilyn? An algebra student. Who's an algebra student? Marilyn. Remember, we have 1, 2 commas there. All right, number 15, which is correct. Mrs. George woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. She couldn't get back to sleep until 6 o'clock. So you've got 2 sentences just connected with a comma. That's a big no-no. Down here, I know that this one is not correct because the comma comes after the fanboy. The comma should really come before it. This one I know is not correct because there's no comma here before and you've got a complete sentence over here. So I know that it's this one. Mrs. George woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, comma, and she couldn't get back to sleep until 6 o'clock. All right, 16, please call me. You get this message. I would go with this one, as soon as. So this is another white bus, as soon as. It means the same thing as when, right? All right, Marilyn failed her math test. This time it's a comma, so I want a fanboy. She passed her science test. I have to go with but. Or it could be yet, but that's not a choice. Blank, she failed her math test. Marilyn asked her teacher for extra help. I would probably go because she failed her math test, Marilyn asked her teacher for extra help. Okay, so first she asked for help. I'm sorry. First she failed her tests, right? And then she asked for extra help. Why did she ask for extra help? Because she failed her math test. All right, Marilyn failed her math test. She asked her teacher for extra help. This time it's a comma, so I'm going to have to go with so. Sam was a young boy. He has always loved taking care of animals. I would go with since, so since the time. Margaret slapped the teacher, 21. She was sent to the principal's office, consequently. Right, because you've got that semicolon, right? So it's a hotshot fact. All right, 22. I saw my teacher. I said hello. I would go with when. So this one is a white bus. 23. Marilyn failed her math test. She didn't study. I would go with for. Why did she fail? Because she didn't study. All right, the teacher loves chocolate. The students bought him a box of chocolates. I would go with so. Because again, you've got that comma, right? So we need a conjunction here. You've got 2 complete sentences. All right, 25. Larissa woke up. She got out of bed. I would have to go with then. So it's a hotshot fact. You've got a semicolon there. I wouldn't go with however because there's no surprise there. All right, the B in fanboys. Oops, there we go. Many people want to become bilingual, blank. They will have better job opportunities. This one has to be so that. It's the reason why, right? This one is a white bus. All right, this one I can tell is a fanboy. The only fanboy is or. So without even reading it, I know that or is correct. Let's read it now. You may read a book. That's a sentence. You may complete your assignment for another class. You've got 2 choices. All right, 29. Roberta didn't have all the ingredients to bake a cake. There's a semicolon. She decided to prepare something else. So I would have to go consequently, right? So as a result of not having all the ingredients. 30. He has a terrible voice, comma, and a conjunction. So it's got to be either so or but. He will go down in history as the worst singer ever. I would have to go with so, because he has a terrible voice. Worst singer ever, right? They're both the same idea. All right, 31, another fanboy. We studied for the algebra test for 2 hours last night. That's why we passed. So we passed. 32, the couple had an argument. They forgave each other later. Yet. Okay, so here's bad news. Here's good news, right? Jung-hee is looking forward to December. Looking forward means that you're looking into the future and you're excited about something. I would have to go with because she's going to graduate with her master's degree. You don't have a comma here, so it's not a fanboy. And we're finding out why. Why is she excited? Why is she looking forward? The Y in fanboys is yet. The E in a white bus can be even though or even if. The B in a white bus because. Okay, 37, he tried his best. He couldn't pass the exam. I'm going to go with but. The A in fanboys and. She was sitting in the cafe. Her friend opened the door and greeted her. I would have to go with while. Remember the past progressive from last semester? She was sitting and sitting and sitting. Then her friend opened the door. All right, so this one is a white bus. You got the comma right there to prove it. We are on vacation in Hawaii. My sister is going to watch our house. Again, while. You got two actions happening at the same time. The U in a white bus. Oops, unless. Marilyn failed her math test. She passed her science test. Okay, so you've got good news and bad news, right? She failed. Bad news. She passed. Good news. This one right here is a hotshot fact. Okay, Marilyn failed her math test. She didn't study. Why? Because wolves are dangerous. Stay away from them. Therefore, that's why. That's why you should stay away from them. All right, which one is correct? Unless you get enough sleep at night, you won't do well in your classes. That one looks correct to me. The only way that you'll do well is if you get enough sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, you won't do well. Because you get enough sleep, you won't do well. Why'd you fail your test? Because I got 8 hours of sleep. No. You get enough sleep at night if you won't do well on your test. So good news, I failed my math test, so I'm going to get my full 8 hours of sleep tonight. Doesn't make sense. If you get enough sleep at night, you won't do well on your test. Doesn't really make a lot of logical sense. All right, 46, Marilyn failed her math test. Hotshot fact, she failed her history test. All right, so she failed and she failed. So additionally would work. Okay, and would not work because it's and is for fanboys. Because would not work because that's for white bus. Nevertheless means that there's a contrast in ideas. Okay, so you could say nevertheless she passed her history test. She failed her math test. Nevertheless she passed her history test. Okay. All right, Marilyn again. Marilyn failed her math test. She didn't cry or scream. Okay, this one has a comma. Okay, so bad news, but good news, she didn't embarrass herself. All right, 48. I will try to get a discount. I won't buy this TV otherwise, or I won't buy this TV. Okay, and we've got a semicolon and a comma there, so we know it's going to be a hotshot fact. Okay, the N in fanboys. I cannot type, nor. All right, I would buy a new house in the Greek islands. I'm not even looking. I don't even see it. I think it's if. There it is. If I won the lottery. All right, which is correct. All right, because she needed to finish her homework, Marcy didn't watch TV when she got home from school yesterday. That one's correct. I already know. Okay, this one says so that she needed to finish her homework. Do you ever, does that make any sense to you? Maybe so that she could finish her homework. But we don't ever do anything so that we can need something. That doesn't really make sense. Even though she needed to finish her homework, Marcy didn't watch TV. Even though it means that there's a surprise, this is not a surprise. Although means the same thing. Although she needed to finish her homework, she didn't watch TV. You could say, even though or although she needed to finish her homework, Marcy watched TV. Right? There would be kind of a surprise. All right, 52. Millie hasn't traveled outside of the U.S. By the way, I know I'm looking for a white bus because it starts with a blank. There's a comma right here. Her sister has lived all around the world. While has to be the answer. So while means the same thing as even though or although, or it can mean two things are happening at the same time. Like I were a teacher, I would give the students more tests. I would have to go with if. By the way, it says if I were. I haven't taught you this yet. This is called the unreal conditional. You never really see I were except for this construction. You don't say, for example, where were you yesterday? I were at school, or I were at home. I was at home, right? But this unreal, with the unreal conditional, anytime we use the be verb, it's of course the be verb in the past tense, but it's always were. So if I were you, if he were you, if he were a teacher, something like that. Okay, and it always has would and then the base verb. We will get into this eventually. Okay. If an earthquake hits, you should get under a table as soon as the earthquake stops. Wait. Get under the table as soon as it stops? Maybe get under the table until it stops. Right? So stay under that table until it stops. Blank, they want to or not, the students have to come to school every day. This one is going to be whether. It means the same thing as if they want to or not. If they want to come to school every day or they don't want to come to school every day, they have to come to school every day. Okay, the H in a white bus is how, not however. Okay, Margaret, who's Margaret? A high school student. What about her? Okay, for this one, you're going to be tempted to say she slapped, but you've already got the subject, so you can't go with that one. So it has to be this one, slapped her teacher in class yesterday, all right? Although the following are correct, except so we're looking for the mistake. While he doesn't speak Spanish, Juan Carlos understands it when his parents speak to him. While, of course, can mean even though. He doesn't speak Spanish, yet Juan Carlos understands it when his parents speak to him. That one's correct. Even though he doesn't speak Spanish, Juan Carlos understands it when his parents speak to him. And here's the mistake, and I can see it right there. Juan Carlos understands it when his parents speak to him, comma, but he doesn't understand Spanish. And I would probably, just so you know, it's totally unclear. I would probably reverse the words it in Spanish. So Juan Carlos understands Spanish when his parents speak to him, although he doesn't understand it. That would make a little bit more sense too. Okay, so that one's your mistake, so therefore it's correct. All right, 59. Blank can speak more than one language. You have the opportunity to make more new friends. I would go with something like if, but I don't see if. But how about when? When you can speak, which will happen to you, right? Or already has happened. Marilyn failed her math test. Hotshot fact, she failed her history test. Furthermore means also. Okay, they're both bad news. Which is correct. Humans need to eat food and water. Wait, eat food and drink water. That one seems correct. They need to eat food and drink water. This one says, because humans need to eat food, they need to drink water. So why do they need to drink water? Because they need to eat food. Doesn't make sense. Humans need to eat food and they need to drink water. This one's wrong because there's no comma. Humans need to drink water. Thus means therefore. Therefore means, say it with me, so, right? So they need to eat food. really there's no connection between these two ideas, so it doesn't really work. All right, 62. I woke up this morning, I ate breakfast, I was hungry. Probably you ate breakfast because you were hungry, so I'm going to go with one of these. Did you eat breakfast before you woke up, or when you woke up? Probably when you woke up. So he immediately or she immediately ate breakfast. All right, we wanted to go to Portugal. We went to Brazil, so there's a contrast. They went to two different places. They went to a different place than where they wanted to go. I would go with however. Not but, because it's not a fanboy. All right, Margaret slapped the teacher. She wasn't sent to the principal's office. There's a surprise. I'm going to go with though. We read the book. We know what the story is about. It's a comma, so I would go with so. Blank, she studied for 3 hours. Marilyn failed her math test. I would go with even though. All right, so I should have explained that because there's a surprise there, right? Since means because, or it can mean because, right? So because she studied for 3 hours, that's why she failed. No. All right, 67. The doctor checked the test results. She told me that I was in perfect health. Sorry, I'm getting tired. I would go with after. So first the doctor checked the results, and then she told me I was in perfect health. The T in a white bus could be though. Okay. 69. We didn't learn anything at school yesterday. It was still a good day. So you've got a fanboy there. This is the only one, and there's a contrast, right? It's bad if you come all the way to school and you don't learn anything. That's not good. All right, 70. We didn't study for the test. We passed. Okay, this is another fanboy. All right, the girl brushed her hair. She walked to school. You'd want to say then, but it's got a comma there, so it has to be a fanboy. It has to be and. The S in fanboys. So, whoops, not C. There we go. All right, 73. We must conserve the world's natural resources if. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Conservationists as they have recommended. Sorry. So in the same way that they've recommended. So these conservationists, these are people that say, hey, stop throwing your trash. Hey, stop putting white paper in the garbage can when you can recycle it. Okay. So they've recommended it, and we must do what they've said. We should do what they've said. All right, which one is correct? Larry loves his mother, but he despises his father. That one works. By the way, despise means to hate. It's the opposite of love. It's a good word to know. This one I know is not correct because look, I've got a white bus here, but I don't see a comma here. So although Larry loves his mother, he despises his father. This one's not going to be correct, even though it's got the right pattern. Because he loves his mother, he despises his father. You can love both mother and father. And this one, see, Larry loves his mother even though he despises his father. That one is not correct. So the first one is correct. Okay, you've got the fanboy there. So Larry loves his mother, he despises his father, but is a contrast. So there you go. 75, he tried his best, he couldn't pass the test. There's a contrast there. It's a hotshot fact. I'm going to go with however. All right, which one is not correct? Monica passed the test even though she didn't study. Right, that one's written correctly. There's no comma there. There should not be. Monica passed the test, yet she didn't study. That one looks correct. But is a fanboy. It's not a white bus. And this one over here, even though she didn't study, she passed the test. You've got the comma there. That one's fine. Marilyn failed her math test. She asked her teacher if she could get extra help. Therefore has to be the answer because it's a hotshot fact. All right, before Ling comes to school in the morning, we will receive calls from telemarketers. I like to spend quiet evenings at home. She studies for an hour. That one looks the best, right? Before Ling comes, she studies for an hour. It can't be this one, if she eats, because you've got two conjunctions, and they're both dependent clauses. You could take out if. You could say, before Ling comes to school in the morning, she eats food containing peanuts. These other two just really don't fit with what the sentence is about. All right, 79. She didn't study. Marilyn failed her math test. I would go since. Since means because. All right, the S in a white bus. So that's one of them. All right, Lance got home. He went to bed because he was so sleepy. Probably as soon as. As soon as means when or immediately at the time. Whereas is a contrasting word, by the way. Whereas I hate hot weather, I love Arizona, comma, I love Arizona. All right, the F in fanboys is for. For means because. All right, Marilyn, study for your math test. I bet it's otherwise. I'm not even looking. You will fail tomorrow. Yeah, there it is, right? So you've got that semicolon. Otherwise is a fancy way of using or if not. If not, I think is probably a better translation. All right, Marilyn failed her math test. She is still good at math. I would go with even though. All right, 85. People from different cultures often don't understand each other because they communicate differently. There you go. 86. Sue jogs every morning. By the way, I should say this. I'm sorry. Because is my conjunction. It's my white bus, and I need a complete sentence. It's not going to be they communicated because over here it's don't. They don't understand. It's the present tense. So we need to be consistent. And it needs to make logical sense. All right, 86. Sue jogs every morning. She wants to stay in shape. You've got the comma. Otherwise, I would go with because. Why does she jog? She wants to stay in shape. So it's going to be for. There you go. Watching movies at home is relaxing. On the other hand, watching in the theater can be exciting. Right? This is good, but on the other hand, this is also good. Yay, last one. All right, he couldn't tell her the truth. That's why he lied. Right? It is your hotshot fact. Well, that was fun. Hope you learned something. Let's see how I did. I'm kind of nervous, I won't lie. Did I pass my own test? It's a miracle. I could not have done it without you, though. Thank you for your help and your support. You are going to take the test again, and I hope you'll get a better score the next time.